Hello, here I am trying to walk you through the steps of building your lantern. Remember, at the end of this, you're going to be using a lot of calculus, a lot of math in order to find the volume of your lantern. So here we go. So we have a company, is open for business, trying to sell updated versions of tea lanterns. And they contacted us because they want you guys to be in charge of making those lanterns and finding the volume of those lanterns. So here I am, just trying to walk you through the first step. So you read through this. The first step is that we want to create our cylinder. The circumference has to be 8 inches and the height has to be 4.25 inches. So here I am trying to make the cylinder portion. And then we'll walk through the other steps in a sec. So for my cylinder, I like purple. So I'm going to go ahead and choose purple as my inner color. But the only issue is I gotta make sure that it has these dimensions. So luckily though, if I fold this hot dog style, which is basically the longer way, just make sure it's even. Right. If I were to fold this hot dog style, I use my ruler. Make sure we're on inches. It'll be nice if I had a better, clearer surface here. Do this. There you go. So anyways, use your ruler just to confirm that this should be about 4.25 inches, which it is. So we're good. Fold it in half gives me at least the approximate height of the cylinder that I want. All right, so good. We folded it in half. That gives me the good height. So now what I'm going to do, by the way, the materials you need is scissors. Scissors and also tape for this portion. And a ruler. I am now mentioning that. So you need those things. Personally, I like to just use my nails. You can use scissors if you want. I just needed one portion of this cylinder to make my shape. Good. So the height of this portion is 4.25. It's perfect. If you look back at the directions, though, the circumference has to be 8 inches. Circumference, basically, if I was to go all the way around, basically the length of the circle part is your circumference. That means if I were to fold this out, the circumference is the length of this longer part. So I have to make sure this longer part is 8 inches. So let's go ahead and use our ruler, make our adjustments as needed to make our cylinder. So using our ruler, I gotta make sure that this is indeed 8 inches. Well, if it's 8 inches, by the way, you need a pencil. You need a pencil to make sure you mark where is the 8 inches at. So it's right here. Yeah, the other side too. Darn it. Whatever. Just gonna do this. Let's just make a, hopefully I'm not crooked, but whatever. Great, so I marked my 8 inches. Now I'm gonna cut my paper so that I have my perfect 8 inches. Essentially, now what you got is a rectangle whose length is 8 inches and whose height is 4.25 inches. This is going to be your cylinder. What you're going to do next is to wrap it around. You're going to have to tape. You're going to have to tape this segment. Handy dandy tape. And just pull out a piece. I mean, you don't have to be perfect here. I just try to make my little prototype. Make sure you try to not overlap the parts. Otherwise, it's going to mess up your measurements. It's nice if you have someone helping you tape this. Honestly, try my best to make sure these don't overlap. Make them just touch. It's not perfect. I think I'm gonna add another tape right here because it looks a bit messy. So make sure it closes nicely. Alright, there you go. I taped it. Yeah, if you can have someone help you make a better taping, that'd be nice. Anyway, there we go. We have my cylinder. Its height is 4.25 inches. The circumference is 8 inches because we made our measurements. We used the ruler and whatnot. So here's my cylinder. That is step 1. Step 2, so I have this. I'm going to set this aside for now. Let's move on to step 2. Step 2 says you're going to be creating a shape that is repeatedly taped around the cylinder that will eventually become the prototype of a final version of all these shapes all the way around. Do some brainstorming to create any solid 2D dimensional shape you want to create, but make it smooth. I mentioned to make it smooth because it's going to make your calculations easier. If you want to do sharp corners and stuff like that, feel free. You might get some extra credit. Alright, so now the next step is to make the shapes that are going to go around my cylinder. Because remember, the goal is to make a pretty lantern. That's what we're doing. And at the end of it, we're going to find the volume of this lantern. But the goal is to make a nice little design. So you could have stuck with using the same colors. I could have stuck with using this purple, right? And then cutting some shapes out of this because the length of this is going to be approximately good enough to go around this, just so you know. But no, I want to choose yellow. I want to make a different color on the outside, and that's perfectly okay. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to fold this in half. It's going to make it better. Folding this in hot dog style in half. Because if I fold it in half, that's going to be the length of the height of my cylinder. And it's perfect length for the shape that I want to put all around. So that's why I'm folding this in half. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try with my pencil to trace out a shape that I want to work with. And just move this. Okay, I'm going to start down here. The shape that I want to do looks something like this, because I already previously made this shape. Something like that is what I want. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to make 12 cutouts of this, plus one more. So essentially you're actually making 13 cutouts of this. The 13th one you're going to save because we're going to trace that later on. Okay, so you want to save one extra. The other 12 of these replicas are going to go around your shape that you're going to tape around and make a pretty little lantern stuff. So now what I'm going to do is to start making my replica cutouts. It's nice because I folded this in half, so when I cut out one, I'm essentially cutting out 2 copies of the same shape. So if I open it, there's 2. I'm gonna just, there we go. Cool. So what's going to happen is these shapes that I just cut out, I'm just going to go all around my cylinder and glue them. Or tape them, actually. I like this. It's pretty. Some of you wanted, by the way, so then, again, I would repeat my process. I don't know if there's a nice, Sorry, I just found out a cool way to make more replicas of this shape. I don't know if anyone saw that, but so either way, you can trace again and just cut out the same shape over and over, or look at this cool, look at this. If I were to fold this up like so, you get the same shape. Oops. No, you don't. Ignore that. Anyways, you're going to want to try to trace out replicas of the same shape. Make 12 of them. Tape it around your cylinder, okay? Never mind. I thought so. Unless you can make that work. Yeah, never mind. It's kind of backwards. So you're going to have to cut out replicas of the same shape. Make 13 in total. Save the 13th one for later. Anyway. Okay, now step 2 is to go ahead and create the shape, which we did. Make 13 of them, and that's also step 13. Oops. And now taping the 12 shapes equally around the outside. That's what we're gonna do next. Then the math part comes in a sec. So the math part is gonna be another video, okay? Here's my cylinder. I'm going to begin taping my shape. So remember, you're imagining that I cut out 13 pieces of this and that I'm going to tape around 12 and saving one last segment for me to measure. So how to tape this? Here's my instruction on how to tape it. I'm going to start by just making sure only like half of the tape is on my shape, like so. And then what I'm going to do is start taping this around. So I'm just going to put this like so. You know, it's not perfect, but. And then I could just take this down. And you could cut this, you know, if you don't want to hold it. I mean, it's okay if you're not an artist, but see how I just simply taped it. That's how it looks like. That's one. Now, I'm gonna keep going until I tape 12 of these around here, right? You're gonna make some pretty little shapes. And remember, you gotta save the last one, the 13th one that you cut out, for measuring purposes for when we find the volume. So here I am, gonna do my next shape. I'm just gonna put tape on, oops, whatever, I guess. I just put tape on, just making sure that there's tape on the other side so that you can go ahead and make sure that they're in the same orientation, by the way. They should be the same shape going around. It kind of looks like an airplane or something. Yeah, it's not gonna be that gorgeous. I am just doing a demo. And then if I fold this up, it kind of props up. See how nice it's looking? You're gonna be doing 12 of these all around. You can imagine what Miss Sedano's looks finished. I'm gonna let you guys finish yours. I do have some samples here from last class. If you guys want to take a look at your peers, I'm gonna be very careful. It's right here. I think this is Layla's. How gorgeous. She's almost done. She needs to tape 12 all around. This one right here, I believe Ari is finished. This looks like about 12. Look at how gorgeous. Look at her beautiful little lantern. Very gorgeous. This is what you kind of want. Very, very nice. We'll be attaching strings to these and hanging these up as well. So see, this is what it should look like. So this is this portion. Please make sure you follow the directions and be precise with your measurements. And that is it. That is it for this step. Stay tuned for the math portion. See you guys.